Today's special election in Tennessee could be a big indicator of what's to come in next year's midterm elections. First-time candidate Republican Matt Van Epps has earned an endorsement from President Trump in the race for the state's 7th Congressional District. He's running against Democrat Aftyn Behn, who's slowly closing the gap for the typically red seat. President Trump carried the district by more than 20 points in last year's election. So let's bring in CBS News correspondent Nicole Valdes to talk more about this. She's joining me from Nashville. Nicole, you got an opportunity to speak to both candidates ahead of the election today. What'd they say?
Well, both of those candidates, Vlad, and rather both of their respective parties have recognized that this has become a critical election at a time where the Republican majority in the House, the narrow majority, has really become in the spotlight here. The Republican candidate, Matt Van Epps, told me he expects to win decisively and said, "We don't just want to win, but we want to win by a large margin." His opponent, Democratic State Representative Aftyn Behn, is hoping to write her underdog story and upset that historically red seat and win a spot as the next member of Congress to represent this district of Tennessee. But she recognizes that hasn't happened in some time. She certainly thinks that anything is possible. We asked them both not only how confident they are, but why they believe that those voters may look to give them that seat.
The voters are tired. They're tired. I have routinely said throughout the campaign, I don't care who you voted for. I don't care what political party you belong to. If you are upset with the cost of living and the chaos of Washington, then I am your candidate.
We're driving forward as an America First conservative to push the president's agenda forward, to fight alongside the president and the speaker. And we know now, as you just look across the country and the different dynamics that happen in different House races, that this one is so critical because of that, because the margin is already narrow and potentially could be more narrow. But we want to win, and we want to win decisively with a big margin and set the right tone going forward into 2026.
And polls are now open here in Tennessee, so those who live in this district are already out casting those ballots. They'll close at 7 o'clock tonight. We'll have to find out, of course, where the results are. Again, not just who wins this election, but by how much they win this election, Vlad.
Nicole, as you know, the president and House Speaker Mike Johnson have both campaigned for Van Epps. I want to play for our viewers a little bit of the phone call that the president and Speaker Johnson made in support of Van Epps. Let's play that for our audience.
The whole world is watching Tennessee right now, and they're watching your district. The whole world. It's a big vote. It's going to show something, and it's got to show that the Republican Party is stronger than it's ever been.
All right. So is the president's involvement, at least from what you're hearing from voters, enough to give Van Epps the edge?
Well, it's certainly telling, right, that this has become a much more competitive race than maybe even Republicans initially anticipated. Not only the amount of attention, the amount of the different people who are really throwing in their support for their respective candidates, the amount of money as well going into this race. In fact, Ad Impact posted some new findings earlier this week to show that both sides have now dedicated several $1 million into advertising for this race, a race that has historically been much lower voter turnout. It's a special election. It's the last one of the year. It's just after a holiday. So all of these factors are really telling. And you also have to consider, of course, a lot of that focus in on, again, the potential hope to shift power in the House at some point next year.
Yeah. And Nicole, as we pointed out, and as you did as well, the president of the United States won that district by 20 points. So even if Behn doesn't win, but she comes close, that is incredibly telling. And of course, this is only until the midterms, right? Because whoever wins this election is actually going to have to run for that seat come the midterms.
Right, meaning their campaign today really isn't over. They'll have to run for re-election again. So a lot of eyeballs still here. Of course, we'll have to wait and see what those results show later on tonight.
All right, Nicole Valdes reporting from Nashville for us this morning. Nicole, thank you very much. Appreciate it.